What's up, guys? Welcome back to the D-Class Moto Podcast. We're here in my garage. Kind of got a little bit of a new setup going. Hopefully going to be using this backdrop a little more often. Hayden's not here today. We're doing this in the middle of the day, so he's at work. But we've got a super special guest. Got Hunter Cordle on.
Hello.
And yeah, so I guess we'll just go ahead and jump right into it.
All right.
So Hunter's here because National Supercross this weekend. We're all going. It's going to be a blast. So I guess just to kind of start off, like, do you want to explain kind of like how you got into dirt bikes in the first place?
Yeah. So I grew up riding and racing. My dad did the same when he was a kid. His stepdad got him into it. And so like he first put me on a dirt bike the day I turned a month old.
Really?
Yep. And then I got a P-dub for my third birthday.
Dang. So you've been doing it a while.
Yeah. My whole life. That's like, and I kind of took a long break.
How old are you now?
I'm 26.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
I'm 29. So
okay, cool. I took a little break. I wouldn't necessarily say burnout on it, but I was just like, I probably would have kept riding for fun, but I quit racing and I didn't ride as much. So my dad was like, hey, like, you know, we need to sell this thing if you're not going to.
How old were you when you kind of stopped?
I was 15, 16.
Okay, so you were on big bikes at that point?
Yeah, a 250. I had a YZ250 at the time. And well, sorry, lost my train of thought. Yeah, so I quit then and didn't ride again. I went with a friend of mine and rode once, and that was just a few years ago now. So I took a break for like 8 years.
Really?
Yes, got a bike, got a Honda 250, a 2017 CRF 250 back in October of 2022. So now I've been back at it for like a year and a half or so.
Nice.
Sold that bike, got a new KTM.
Sick.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've been kind of back in it for like a little more than 2 years now.
Okay.
I kind of had a similar deal where I rode up until middle school, but then I was forced to quit riding. One of my buddies like almost died out on the track. My mom was like,
yeah,
all right, bikes are getting out of here.
Right.
So then like a couple of years ago, I was like living up here and I was like, you know what? I'm going to just buy a bike. And I knew nobody that rode.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I'm just going to buy a bike. It was back when like flipping bikes was like still pretty profitable.
Yeah.
So I bought like an old, like it was an 01 CR125. I was like, I'm just going to buy this thing. I'll fix it up and flip it if no one wants to ride with me. And then I just convinced like 3 or 4 people all to get bikes. So
nice. That's awesome.
Yeah. Now we've been kind of stuck doing it ever since, which it's like my favorite thing to do. So
I know it's the best. When I first started back, I was trying to ride like twice a week if I could. Another part of that story is I was a firefighter before, and now we both just do social media full time. So that was kind of when I left the fire department, I told her, I'm like, I got to have something like for me to do. You know, I just can't, it's hard for me to stay at home and work all day. So like, yeah. And that was the thing, was getting back into riding. So she was down for that. So I'm thankful for that. And so, yeah, I was like, man, I got to ride a lot to like kind of get back where I was and get comfortable again, you know?
Yeah. Did you pick it back up pretty quick?
The first day I was like, the first time I went back to the track and rode, and because I had ridden about 3 years prior to that with my buddy, and it was like a vet track. It was very easy. And I picked it that day. I was good. Obviously I was pretty slow, but it was like I had never quit.
Yeah.
Then when I got that Honda and I went to the track for the first time, it was awful. I was like, I don't know if this is the right decision, but I stuck to it. And then, yeah, obviously I'm, loving it again. So.
Yeah. And you're in like South Alabama, right?
Yep. Alabama.
There's some good tracks down there.
Yeah, we have a few tracks, several tracks within like about 2 or 2.5 hours. Okay. So like Monster Mountain, everybody knows that is like 2.5 hours from me. That's one of my favorite tracks. And then GPF and MTF are like an hour and a half. Okay. Yeah, obviously you can't really ride MTF, but GPF is amazing.
And that you can pretty much anyone can go ride at. Yeah,
I think sometimes they advertise, sometimes they don't. But most Saturdays it's open to the public.
Really?
GPF is, yep.
Nice.
And then there's a couple other training facilities, and Josh Grant he's actually the closest track to my house.
Really?
Yeah, it's like 25 minutes from my house.
Nice.
So that's a lot of fun, but that's like, that track it's gnarly.
Oh, I'm sure.
It's so mentally challenging because there's like every obstacle you can imagine. It's like an outdoor national scale track.
Really?
Yeah. And it's just,
Are there pro riders that train there? Or?
Yeah, sometimes not like full time, but there have been. Yeah, there's been some guys down there.
That's sick.
Yeah.
So shoot, there's something I was about to ask you. You said you're in what part of Alabama?
Southeast Alabama. So I'm in Dothan. Okay. A lot of people, if you've been to Panama City Beach.
Yeah, I was about to say, I grew up in Atlanta.
Okay.
And we'd always drive. That's where we'd always get tickets on the way down to the beach.
Yeah. That's how I explain it to everybody. I'm like, have you been to Panama City Beach? If so, probably driven through Dothan. If you're coming from the north, obviously. Yeah. But yeah, because it's pretty close. That's actually the airport that we fly out of is Panama City.
Okay. Yeah. Nice. So how'd you guys kind of get started with like doing social media and like kind of walk me through like from like how that like very first started to like now, like you guys said you're doing it full time.
Yeah. So we originally she kind of always was interested in it. Like kind of most people are, you know? Mm-hmm. So what we started doing was she's pregnant again now, but she was pregnant with our first baby girl.
It's like, how long ago was this?
This was like 4 years ago. Cause she's 3 now. So this was like roughly 4 years ago. We were on our baby moon and she was like, you know what? I'm just going to film. She started filming on her phone. And then she edited the video on her phone. And our idea behind it was like, we just wanted to film like some kind of like the old school, like home videos, like what our parents did with us. But we were just posting them on YouTube. So if we had something to make a video about, we would. And then, basically for her to go back and watch. Like we would, you know, our old ones, but they're just on YouTube. So obviously we were hoping, and she was staying at home at the time and then continued to stay at home when we had the baby. And I was working at the fire department and I was working a lot of overtime to kind of pick up, since she was staying at home, extra income. And so obviously we were hoping, you know, we were like, well, maybe, you know, this can turn into something one day. Mm-hmm. So we were doing YouTube for like, I don't know, a few months, 6 months or so. And then she saw a TikTok or maybe it was a YouTube video, but anyway, it was of some of our friends now, which is kind of funny.
Really?
Yeah. They made a video about how they were trying to do YouTube. Then they started making TikTok videos and their TikToks went viral and that helped them grow on YouTube, which was their like actual goal, you know? So she was like, well, shoot, maybe we could do that. So she actually started making like really silly, just funny, a little cringy, like mom TikTok videos. And she did pretty good with that. She got like 25,000 followers and it was all lip syncing videos, like just to the audios.
Really?
Yeah. And so we did like the little creator fun thing on TikTok and we were making like on a good day, we were making like $250 a day, you know, and we we're like, oh, well, like in a year, you know, this is like, we do this for a year that can add up, you know, like $500 a year. Like that's great. I mean, anything extra, you know? And so I ended up, because I was at the fire department, so all we could have was a mustache. So I had a mustache at the time, and I shaved it off, and I filmed her reaction, which was something that I would normally do because she's just very animated.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, we just decided to post it, and it went viral. And honestly, like the rest is just kind of history. We just stuck with it. And
really, and so like how long ago was that when it like really took off?
Yeah, that was January, like pretty much January 1st of 2021.
Okay.
No, 2022. Yeah. Right, Devin? 2022 or 2021? Did we start? Oh, you're fine. Sorry.
We're very informal here. So like, it doesn't matter that you're sitting there either.
Okay. So quiet.
No, yeah. We'll probably end up like saying stuff to you later or something.
What year was it that the TikTok thing, like that, the mustache video, was it 21 or 22? We do that all the time too. Forget to flip it.
Almost
similar. Ours is A7C. Yeah.
Ours gets overheated though. Sometimes.
Yeah. That one has a fan built into it or no? Do you know?
I don't think it does. So they make I'm also kind of a camera nerd, so I don't want to talk too much about it.
No, you're good.
We can talk about it after too.
Yeah.
But I've heard the FX3 is like the best heat wise, but that one is basically the exact same camera. And it's, if I'm like outside filming for a long time, it overheats, but besides that, it's been great. So
it looks pretty beefy. I like that.
Yeah. It's a good camera.
Yeah.
But anyway,
so it's 2021. Like I said, we had she had 25,000 followers. Mm-hmm. So then we posted that video and we went from 25,000 to 1 million in a month.
Really?
Yeah, on TikTok.
Jeez.
And so
1 million followers?
Yeah, 1 million followers on
Dang.
TikTok. Yeah. So that just kind of kept going. And yeah, we just kept going with it because it was honestly like it was just something fun that we were doing. And we had the like viral moment. And like we didn't really view it as like a job for a long time.
Yeah.
It just, like I said, it was just fun for us and extra and, you know, whatever. And then, so yeah, now it's a job.
In that like month where it kind of like went crazy, did you pretty quickly realize like, all right, this might become our full-time thing?
Yeah. A little story about that. We had some people like reach out to us and they were saying like, we'd love to give y'all some advice, you know, whatever. And so we were like, sure, why not? So we had like a FaceTime call with them and they're like, if you want to do this, like you need managers. And we're like, we don't need managers. Like, what are you talking about? We don't need managers. And so, and I told Devin, she's like, well, maybe we do. We accepted a brand deal for like $100 and we were like, oh, we're making it. We're killing it. You know? And so we had a phone call with our managers. This was like after we hit 1 million followers and they were like, no, like you shouldn't be doing that kind of thing. And, you know, it takes a while to like get to the point where people will actually pay you to make videos. But, but yeah, we're like, no, you shouldn't be doing that. And then the people that we talked to about that were giving us advice, they were like, you know, if this is what you want, like kind of welcome to your new life or whatever. We're like, what does that even mean? So yeah, so like I said, I mean, we started doing some brand deals and some advertisement videos and whatever, but it was still like I said, it was still like just fun and extra income at the time because I was still at the fire department. But yeah, like I said, it was a while. I don't know, like a year or so after that point. It was like a year went by, and we were like, okay, this is like work.
Yeah,
you know? Which it's still fun, but
so now is it? Sorry, that's the thing automatically locks every 15 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So is it just you two that are doing everything now, or do you guys have people?
Well, we have the managers.
Okay, so you ended up going with them.
So we ended up going with the managers, and we got really lucky that we got the managers that we did our first go around because we have a lot of friends that get some that are, you know, that you
I'm sure there's a lot of people that just want. They're like, oh, these people are making money. I want some of that money.
Exactly.
Too.
Yeah. So we have the managers. We have an editor for our YouTube videos and for the podcast.
Nice.
And yeah. So
do you guys do all the filming yourselves?
We do. Yeah. We do all the filming ourselves. Like our short form content, like our TikToks and stuff, we still edit all those.
Okay. I'm sure that can still be a lot of work too.
It is. Yeah, it is. But it's, you know, we try to like scale as much as we can, like with the YouTube editor. That was something that we did like pretty early on, like when we started, because we were continuing doing YouTube throughout the entirety of all the TikTok story. Excuse me. And so once we started making that little bit of extra income, we were like, we got to get a YouTube editor because this is, I mean, it would take. She was editing the videos on like iMovie, and it would just take forever.
Yeah,
absolutely forever. So yeah, we have a little bit of help now.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so what's like your primary focus now? Like, is it YouTube or TikTok or a little bit of everything?
Yeah, I would say a little bit of everything. Honestly, probably TikTok, I would say. For us, like sadly, YouTube is like a little bit of like an afterthought sometimes. We're like, oh dang, we gotta film something today, you know, or next week, you know, whatever.
It's also, I'm sure, like a lot more.
It's a lot more
of work stuff.
Yes,
yeah,
a lot more work feeling, and takes a lot more time to do it.
Yeah.
So TikTok, and I say that because TikToks for us are easy because that's just our style of content is like is candid. So like we're not setting up we don't have to set up a stage for. Like we don't like do skits or anything like that. So it's just easy for us to make a TikTok video and edit it.
Yeah.
You know, relatively quickly.
Yeah.
So
I was trying to think of this morning, the first time I like came across you guys. And I think the first thing I ever saw was, it was like a TikTok of like you filming her, like, you know, doing something like quirky or whatever.
Yeah.
And I saw it and I was like, these people are funny, but also like, this, like, I'm not like a family.
Yeah,
like,
right.
This isn't really like my type of content.
Yeah.
And so I like, kept going. Like I saw him like a few more times, and then you get over there. But yeah, I was like, I had seen like a few just like on my For You page. Like it was mostly just of her. And I guess you were filming kind of like the stuff like you were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And then I saw it was a video of her like sitting on a dirt bike.
Mm-hmm.
And you know how us dirt bike people are, like as soon as you see a dirt bike, it's like, whoa, what's going on here?
Yep.
So like that was when I was first like, oh, these people are like dirt bike people. Like, this is kind of cool. And then I don't remember how we ended up like initially getting connected, but
yeah, I don't remember either, honestly.
But it's cool how
I think I may have seen like your pictures, some of your or videos, one of the two. And so I like that kind of stuff. Like the good cinematography, if you want to call it that. So
yeah, I have a lot of fun doing that. We started like kind of our whole like social media thing as the podcast, but then I do media full time. And so I started just like bringing my camera to all the pro races that we went to, and just started filming and like making little edits and stuff. And that's kind of how we like really got the traction that we have. So
yeah.
But yeah, it's pretty cool how like, I don't know about you, but like if I see like a guy with like a dirt bike in the back of his truck on the road, I'm like going crazy. And like, it's like when you see other dirt bike people, you're like,
yeah, for sure.
So I think that's how like first like kind of like started like following you guys, like, oh, like these people are dirt bike people.
Yeah. It's so funny because I know exactly what you mean, because I'm the same way. I think that stems from like when we were growing up, going to school, like you're the only kid at school that rides a dirt bike. So when you go to the dirt bike track and you hang out with your dirt bike buddies, you get along so much better.
Yeah.
But it's so funny because that relates on every level, because when we posted that video, AP's wife, Kendall, she saw it.
Really?
She commented on it. Then she starts messaging us. So like, that's how we're now friends with AP and Kendall.
Yeah.
Is that she just saw that video. So it's like dirt bike people across the board. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
What level you're on, it's everybody thinks it's cool.
Especially like people like y'all are like pretty influential, just like in the, like, I don't know, like what would you say like your like category is, like family?
I guess
type.
family. Yeah.
But it's cool that like, I'm assuming like on your, like your personal Instagram and TikTok, there's probably not, I would assume a lot of those people are not dirt bike people, probably, right?
Not really. When I started trying to post more, my own brand, if you want to call it that, on my Instagram, I was surprised at how many people there were.
Really?
Yeah. But it's not like an overwhelming amount. No.
Yeah. But it's cool that you still like are like not afraid to like post as much dirt bike stuff as you want,
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, that's how like kind of like all of my friendship with dirt bike people have been. Like my buddy Tanner, which if we run into y'all tomorrow, I'll introduce you to him.
Okay.
I met him literally on New Year's Eve of this year. I was at this like New Year's Eve party with a bunch of like half friends, like half people I had no clue who they were. And I was like talking to a couple people. I was like, yeah, me and my buddy went and rode dirt bikes earlier today. And this girl was like, oh, you got to talk to my boyfriend. He likes dirt bikes.
Yeah.
And like, you never know with that. It might be someone that's like, oh yeah, I saw Ricky Carmichael once. Yeah. And so I was like, hey, I'm Connor. Do you like dirt bikes?
Yeah.
And I could tell within like a minute of talking to him, this guy was like all in.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I listen to Pulp MX every single week. And like, but he's like, I don't know anyone else here that even cares at all about dirt bikes. And he had ridden kind of similar to you up until he was like fast. He was like pushing for Loretta's.
Oh yeah.
And then he quit in like 2016 or something. But I literally met him like 2 or 3 months ago. A week later, he bought a dirt bike and now he rides every weekend with us.
Nice. That's awesome.
But it's cool. Like when like those dirt bike people, and I think part of it too, is that like people that don't get it, like they're like, oh, this is just like a weird like sport. You just, it's like NASCAR, right? Like you just sit there and twist the throttle and, but the people that like do get it, they're like, no, this is like the coolest thing on the planet.
Yep, for sure. And it's funny. You're exactly right. Cause we have some friends, like I'll be watching it. They don't really care. A lot of people do relate it to NASCAR, which is interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I have a friend that he had never ridden a dirt bike, never been around them, nothing. So we're hanging out and like I'm watching Supercross and he just like fell in love with it. So now he's bought a bike and everything. Yeah. So that's fun to kind of experience it like for the first time with somebody. Cause his first race was Atlanta last year and we got to go down, like we had some VIP passes or whatever. And we got to go down on the track. Yeah. And it was insane. Like I thought it was insane. So I can't imagine that being like somebody's first like
Oh yeah.
experience with it. I mean,
And that was the one at the Speedway, right?
right.
Yeah, we were at that one too.
Yeah.
Did you grow up going to the races?
Supercross races? Yeah. Always Atlanta. The Georgia
Really?
Dome,
Yeah, same.
That was always, I went to Jacksonville once when they had it there. But yeah, that's it. Lots of Georgia Dome races.
Yeah, same for me. I think the first one I went to was like 05 or something.
Mhm.
I remember I had no idea what I was watching at the time, but it was like prime like Chad Reed, Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart.
Man, I know. I wish I could go back and like really soak that in.
Yeah.
Like being at those races and just, it's crazy.
Yeah. Like at the time, I think I was in like 5th grade and I was like, oh yeah, this is cool.
Yeah.
And like, so this 05, and then I think Ricky retired in like 07.
Mhm.
And so we went like all 3 of those years. And like Ricky Carmichael was like my favorite rider.
Yeah.
Like just immediately.
Right.
I remember his like retirement. He like had announced he was like gonna retire. Like was doing a few more races, and he came down the like for the intro. He came down the aisle that we were on. I got to high five him.
Oh, nice.
And like that was like one of the craziest moments of like my like childhood
For sure.
But also like I don't know if I really knew what I was experiencing at the time.
Yeah.
It's like now looking back at it, it's like you see people talk about. They're like, oh yeah, back in 06 when it was those 3, like those were the days. And I was like, oh, I was like there witnessing it and like didn't even really notice.
Exactly. Yep.
Like obviously it was good racing, but I was also like such a little kid that
You don't realize that those are like the three of the greats. You know?
Yeah,
for sure.
But yeah, it was kind of weird they didn't do Atlanta this year.
I know. I thought they were going to do Atlanta as a SMX round.
Dude, same.
I was like counting on that.
I was like, that definitely makes sense because like they're going to do like the
Speedway races.
Yeah, and like they did Charlotte last year, so they're probably going to do like an East, Middle, West, which they did that, but they just went back to Charlotte.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I felt like growing up, I always remember the Georgia Dome being like pretty much sold out until like it kind of like started going downhill. And then did you ever go to the ones in the new Mercedes Benz?
Nope, never have.
I don't know how many years they only did it like 2 or 3 years. I know I went to at least one, but I think they were kind of having trouble selling it. And then last year, which of course at the NASCAR stadium, that holds like 400,000 people.
Yeah.
So it looked a little empty, but I don't know if they were just like not selling tickets or whatever, but
yeah, I don't know. I always heard that the Benz was because of the owners. Not
really?
And like this year with Mutters is crazy, but I don't know how true this is, but I've heard that a lot of the people in the owners or in leadership or admin or whatever at the closed stadiums are just having a lot of issues, like the smell lingering, the dirt lingering, all this.
That was my favorite part about the Georgia Dome. You got that smell all day.
The whole thing just smells like race field.
There's like a big cloud up at the top.
Yeah, exactly. Like I saw a post the other day. I can't remember where it was, but Monster Jam was somewhere, and they had another different kind of sporting event. I don't remember. It was something. Anyway, there was like dirt and stuff like all over the seats.
Really?
So like everybody was complaining about they went to like some game and all their clothes were like filthy.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they do a great job like cleaning up as much as they can, but it's like you bring that much dirt into a stadium. Like I always thought that was crazy how, especially like in like the Georgia Dome, I think they just like lay wood over all that turf.
You're right.
And then bring in thousands and thousands of pounds of dirt.
Yep.
And it's just crazy that they're able to get it in and out that quick and be as clean as they can. But I can see where they would still be.
For sure. And I mean, if it's not during like, if they race during football season in the football stadiums, I would be like, okay.
Yeah.
But like, it's not football season.
Yeah. It's like they're not using those stadiums right now anyway. Might as well.
Right.
But I guess they replaced Atlanta with Birmingham though. And that one, we both got to go to that. That was a really fun event.
I thought so too. I really liked Birmingham. I thought it was nice. The venue.
The getting to the pits. I don't know if y'all dealt with it, but it was a major pain for us.
Yeah, we stayed. Our hotel was like literally right next door to the stadium. Really? So I just walked right over there. But
I was talking about more of like getting in. Like we got to the stadium fine, but like we wanted to be like the first ones in the pits.
Right.
And the line was just like outrageous.
Yeah.
And it was not moving at all.
Yeah. I actually looked out one time from our hotel room. I could see the pits and like the line to get in. And I was like, I think I'm going to go to the pits. And I looked out there and I was like, never mind. I'm staying.
It was like they were making everyone go through metal detectors, but it was like super old school. You had to like take out all your stuff. They were like looking through everyone's bags. And then also like we just brought monster cans because a lot of people don't know, you don't have to buy a pit pass. You just bring a Monster can and you get them for free.
Yeah.
And like, I don't know if the employees didn't know that was a thing, but like there were like 2 lines and they were like, we like waited in line forever. And then they're like, oh no, you got to go get in this line. It was just a whole ordeal, but we ended up getting in eventually. And
first year problems.
Probably.
I heard that they did a 2-year deal with Birmingham.
Oh really? So it's gonna be back next year?
That's again, I don't know if that's true, but that's what I heard.
Yeah.
So maybe so.
That'd be cool. Nice. I really like the speed. What'd you like better between like the Georgia Dome races or the Speedway?
Oh, well, it's been so long since the Georgia Dome races for me, but
or we'll just say between like a stadium versus like a spread out like that.
When I was down there on the track, or even if you can get close to the Speedway races, it's crazy because they're going so fast.
Yeah.
And you can't really tell the difference like on TV. Or if you're far away. The bad thing about the Speedway is if it's hot, you're screwed.
Yeah. We were cooking up there.
Yeah.
I think it was either last year or the year before. It was like crazy hot.
Yeah. But the pits are cool at the Speedway races.
Yeah.
I've never been to Daytona. So I
haven't either. I think they kind of set it up similarly to Atlanta.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really liked it. I mean, there's obviously like positives and negatives. Like I'd say one negative was like we were up in the stands for the Speedway and you're pretty far away because it's like a massive amount of seats and then the whole NASCAR track and then the Supercross track.
Yeah.
But I did think it was cool how big they made the track.
Yes.
Because like in the Georgia Dome, there were sometimes where it was like 45-second lap times. And it's like, all right, they're doing a lot of the same thing over and over and over and over again.
Right.
So it was cool that they had it so spread out. And like we kind of purposely got seats a little up higher so that we could see more of the track.
I like it because it's a change up and it's exactly that. It's just a change up. It throws everybody off because they don't know like what to do with their suspension because it's like half Supercross, half motocross. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's really kind of a toss up, like who's going to do what.
Yeah.
And that's what I like about it.
It's usually, I mean, Eli obviously always wins Daytona, but like besides that, like Atlanta's been like some wild card people. I feel like I know the first year I went, I think Nate Thrasher won, which he had, I think that was one of the races where he won the LCQ and then also won the main event.
Yes.
And then I know 1 year Hunter won, which like that was like 1 year it was an East-West shootout. And it was like, I think they were talking about like Jet versus Christian Craig, like which one of them is going to win. And then Hunter went out and beat both of them. And it was like surprising.
Yeah. That's right.
Was that last year that happened?
That was 2 years ago.
Okay.
Because that was when Christian was on Star, right?
That's right. Yeah.
So 2 years ago.
I don't remember who won last year. In Atlanta.
Was it? No, it wasn't.
250s or 450s.
I don't remember.
Actually, I think
450
Jet
Chase won. I think.
Did he?
Chase, Kenny, and
I think Jet won 250s, if I remember right. I don't know.
Did he race? He didn't race East Coast last year. He raced West, I think. Or no? I don't remember. It doesn't matter.
It's so long ago.
Yeah.
But it's also crazy how much has happened since then.
Yeah.
You know, it's like hard to even remember like Jet on a 250 now that he like dominated all this past year and all that. What was I about to ask you? Oh, have you ever been to a outdoor race, like a pro motocross race?
No, I really want to. I had actually planned on trying to go to one this year. But she's due in like the middle of July.
Oh,
so
really?
Probably not going to work out. Maybe next year.
Yeah, next year.
Yeah.
I will say, so like I grew up going to those Atlanta races and obviously a blast. Nothing compares to an outdoor national.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It's insane. Especially so 2 years ago was the first time I went. We went to Redbud, which like that's probably the most insane one you can go to.
Right.
So we went to that, had the time of our lives. Then I went to Ironman. Ironman was also sick. And then went back to Redbud last year. And last year we brought our bikes up and raced. They do like all these amateur races all weekend.
Yeah.
And that was a blast. Maybe next year if you get the chance to do something like that.
Yeah, that would be fun. I've heard that track. I have a buddy that went up there to race like the Vet National something or another. And he's like, the track is almost like unbearable. It's so rough. But I mean, I can imagine. Because all the national races are so far away from us.
Yeah, especially from Alabama.
Yeah. I hate that I never got to go to is it WW Ranch? In Florida, Jacksonville. I think it's WW Ranch is what it's called. But anyway, yeah, I never got to go to that. That was kind of the time that I was away from it a little.
Yeah. I guess, do you know how long they did pro races there?
I don't know.
I know I've heard of that. I know that I think
like
they did an MXGP there once.
Maybe. Really? I didn't know that. I think like 3 or 4 years. Not 100%.
I heard someone talking about a big reason why they don't do them around here is because it's so freaking hot that in the summer, you know, they can't
that's true. That is true. It makes sense.
But yeah, if you get the chance to, it's a pretty gnarly experience.
Yeah.
Especially Redbud. I would highly recommend it. They always do Redbud on 4th of July weekend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like this huge 4th of July party.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're already starting to plan our trip for this year. We're trying to like rent an RV and like get a few buddies going.
Nice.
And they do, what's
fun.
cool is so they do amateur racing on the big track, which we didn't do that last year. We're going to try and do that this year. Probably end up just rolling the thing, but still get to say we went out there and raced.
Yeah.
But they also have a night track. It's like kind of like out in the parking lot. And it's like a pretty basic, like me and my buddy Hayden, we're both pretty slow. And we had like 2 practice laps and we had pretty much put the track together in 2 laps. So like it's a pretty easy track.
You're right.
And they have like lights and do like a whole night track thing.
Yeah.
And it's cool. One of the coolest things about it too is like, you have like there's a crowd there like cheering for everyone. And so like we go out there in like 25 plus beginner class.
Yeah.
And there's like 3,000 people like cheering for our race. And like, you can hear them and stuff. And like, it's pretty crazy.
That is really funny.
And like, you're never going to get that. I mean, you can go sign up for the most prestigious amateur race in Alabama.
Right.
And you're not going to have a crowd of 3,000 people there cheering for you.
Definitely not. Yeah. That's cool.
So it was pretty sick.
Yeah.
So you said you went to Loretta's last year?
Yes. That was my first Loretta's experience.
Nice.
Never
What do you
went
think?
when I was a kid to watch or definitely not race.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was awesome. I had been to Minios, so kind of similar. And I say that to people and they're like, no, it's not similar at all. I'm like, it's pretty similar.
Really?
I think. But anyway, but yeah, it was a lot of fun. You could tell like Loretta's is a little bit more serious as compared to Minios. But other than that, I mean, I thought it was pretty similar.
Really?
Yeah.
I've always thought about, so growing up, we always went down to 30A for Thanksgiving, which is like right by you guys, I guess.
Pretty close.
And that's always the same week as Minios.
Yeah.
And especially the past few years, I've always been like, I wonder if I could like sneak away. I mean, it's still like 6 or 7 hours or something, but
it is.
I've always been like, I wonder if my parents would care if I like snuck away for a day or two and went and checked that out. But
you should. Minios is cool. You can see more of the track than you can at Loretta's. Yeah,
Loretta's is, I mean, since it's so flat, you know, you kind of have to pick where you're going to be.
That's right.
But it is a pretty unreal experience. I would say Loretta's is pretty similar to like a pro national.
Yeah.
It's obviously like a little bit of a different feel with like not the pro riders there and like, just different. But I think Loretta's is like, can be equally as cool. Just with like,
oh, for sure. I would agree with that.
Yeah. I remember, so the first time I ever went, which I've lived here for like almost 11 years now. And I had like, I kind of, when I stopped riding in middle school, I would watch the pro races, but I kind of got out of like the whole sport for a little bit, especially when like Dungy was just dominating. I think a lot of people were kind of like, all right, I'm kind of sick of watching this. I would still like try and watch a lot of the races, but with college and stuff, I kind of got out of it. And then, I guess like 3 years ago, maybe, it was like right after I got this bike, me and my buddy were like, oh, let's go like check out Loretta's. And we didn't know anything about it. It's only like an hour and 15 from here. But I remember we were like trying to figure out like where to buy tickets and stuff.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find anything, any information.
Yeah.
And I remember Racer X like made a post about it and I commented on the post and I was like, can anyone tell me like where you buy tickets to this event? And everyone was like, oh, you just show up.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay. And I was like, we're just going to go off this random comment. So me and my buddy Hayden just roll in and apparently you're supposed to pay for parking. We didn't know that. Yeah. We just pulled off on the side of the road.
Yeah.
And we walk up to, you know, like the big like ski jump. So there's like the ski jump and then sand right turn and then left turn finish line.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we walk right up to that ski jump.
Yeah.
Where, you know, there's some people that like kind of like scrub it. Some people like send it all the way
Yes.
past that roller.
Yeah.
I think that's the craziest jump on the whole track.
Yeah. Oh,
We just accidentally happened to roll up on that. And right when we get there, the first race we see is like the Super Mini 2,
mhm.
which was like, it was like Hayden Deegan and all them.
Yeah.
And so like first lap comes around and we see Hayden Deegan on this little tiny, 85 frame bike go flying like 50 feet over our heads. And we were like, that was when I was like, all right, we're never going to be able to race here.
Yeah, definitely not. Yeah.
But like, that was like our first experience there. And we were like, holy crap, like these kids are insane.
I like being able to go there and watching just that, like watching Super Mini class, watching like the kids on 65s just absolutely kill it. And the girls, women's class, girls class. And then you got like all that. And then you just 250 and 450 pro sport. Yeah. And then you got like 40 and 50 plus.
Yeah. So it's cool that they kind of like mix it up.
Yeah. That's what I really like about it is it's obviously everybody, every age group and class. Yeah. So like you watch a kid on a 65 out there or like a, 15-year-old girl on a 250 that would like smoke me. Yeah. And then like Mike Brown, comes the next race and beats everybody by like 15 minutes.
Yeah. It's just like just a different type of entertainment, like every 15 minutes. Yep. We got to go and like one of my favorite things with Supercross and with that was just like walking around the pits and like talking to people too. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you guys did much of that while you were there. Yeah, a little bit. But it's cool too. Like, so we actually go out to the ranch a good bit. They do like some trail rides and stuff that like anyone can ride at. We actually,
I saw you posted that the other day.
Last weekend was the spring ride.
That's cool.
And so actually my buddy Anthony, he's the ranch manager there. Okay. And actually also he's the grandson of Loretta Lynn. So that's kind of how he got. Okay. He's lived on the ranch, I think his whole life or something. But we get to kind of like park at his house and then roll in and do the trails and stuff. But
that's cool.
Some of the trails are kind of gnarly. Yeah. But it's crazy too. Like just being out there on like a weekend, like last weekend, and you see all these empty fields and you're like, dang, in like 2 months, this place is going to be literally just like wall to wall with like $200,000 RV rigs and stuff. And it's cool to like walk through and like, it's the same thing with Supercross. It's like everyone there is like on the same page as you. Is like, this is the coolest sport ever.
Yes, exactly. And
that's kind of my favorite thing about really going to any of these events is just seeing like all these people that are like, this is the coolest thing on the planet.
Yeah. That's kind of what I was like, that's kind of what I was meaning earlier when I was talking about, like when you go to school and nobody else rides dirt bikes with you. Yeah. Because she asked me the first Supercross race she went to with me, she was like all these people are like you. And I'm like, yeah, that's like kind of rare, you know? And so like when you go to the race and everybody has the same mindset.
And you get 30,000 people that are just as weird as us.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's funny. Like I know that people think I'm weird about it. And like, I know I'm weird about it too. Like my buddy Tanner, even today, he texted me and he was like, hey, I get off work at 5. You want to go like drive around the stadium tonight? And I'm like, I guess it sounds kind of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And like, we're going to get there at like 11 a.m. tomorrow, literally be there till 10 p.m.
Yeah.
Probably like go out and like meet people after that are all on dirt bikes and like,
definitely.
It's going to be a good time tomorrow.
It's so fun.
So you said you have one kid and another one on the way?
That's right. Yep. 3-year-old girl and is a little boy on the way. So
nice. Congrats.
Yeah, thanks.
So, are they going to be dirt bike riders or?
She is definitely not.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to, and I'm the same way with the boy. I hope that he likes it. But yeah, she has no interest in it. I want to eventually teach her how to ride just so she can, if me and our son are like going to the track, if she wants to go, she could ride around the pit, just something like that, just so she'll know how. But yeah, she's a girly girl. Yeah. Girly girl for sure. So
probably a good thing.
Yeah. Probably for the best.
Maybe the boy though.
Yeah. Maybe so.
Yeah. What do you think about, I haven't really been able to ask anyone this because like we haven't had anyone on the podcast that has little kids, but like the whole like, I guess like discipline of like those people that raise their kids like as like Loretta's kids that are at the track every weekend. Because like from someone who doesn't have any kids or anything, it seems like you get a lot of like good values out of that too, but also you kind of miss a lot of regular life. It's like, what do you think about
Well, I think like having a kid in the sport or around it, raising them in it is really valuable for a lot of different reasons. Like I've noticed just characteristics like, about myself and about some friends that I have that grew up in it. And then myself and friends that I have that grew up playing like regular sports. And it's just like a completely different dynamic. We're actually talking about that today.
Really?
Yeah. And so I think that it's really good for a kid to be around, but like what you're talking about, like, living it, riding like every day. I don't know that's just, to me, that's just solely based on the kid. Cause you can't make them do it.
Yeah.
If you make them do it, they're not gonna perform like the way that you want them to. And then you're gonna, you know what I mean? Then they feel like they're gonna let you down. You're gonna let them down. So it's just like this whole, so to me, it would be solely based on like what the kid wants to do.
Yeah.
So that's a hard life.
Yeah.
Like just going like the kids that just live at MTF.
Yeah.
No parents. Like that's crazy. I mean, sometimes that's what you got to do to make it.
I mean, at this point, especially like, it seems like it's becoming to like where that's like the only option.
Yeah.
Like there's not many, I think like Cameron McAdoo is like one of the last 250 kids that like had a normal upbringing, I think. But now you see like Drew Adams is like crushing it. I think he lives at MTF.
Yeah.
Or no, actually he trains with the Lawrences now. He trains with the
Lawrence. Yeah. I think he is in over there some. I'm pretty sure I actually passed him the other day.
Really?
He was on his road bike.
Oh, I thought you meant like pass him on a dirt bike. I was like, oh,
no. He was on his road bike and I went to GPF and I'm like,
really?
I'm pretty sure that was Drew Adams, but it kind of confused me because I know he trains with the Lawrences.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, I think a lot of them kind of bounce all over.
Yeah.
I think for a while he was living at GPF because I saw a video where like, I think luckily his parents like moved there with him.
Yeah.
But I saw a video where they're like giving a tour of like, this is like where we live. This is like our shop and like all that. And it's like that's like your whole life.
Yeah.
They all do like, I think they're all homeschooled.
Yeah.
It's like you're not going to school and meeting kids and stuff.
For sure. I think Cooper Webb went to public school.
Really?
Yeah. I think, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. I think, well, especially too, like when he was like becoming a pro rider, I think that it wasn't as like, you have to do it this way.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
To where now it's like, that seems like
the only way.
Yeah. If you just ride on the weekends, you're going to be behind unless you're extremely talented.
Yes, you're absolutely right. I don't know if you ever listened to AC's podcast. But I've heard him talk about that, like his childhood. It's just like crazy. Like I think he said he lived in an RV like in PC's parking lot for like 3
I heard him talk about that
or something. I'm like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah.
RV for 3 years in a parking lot.
Yeah. And it's weird too, because like, I mean, I'm sure he wouldn't trade it for anything because like he's had a crazy career, but like you do miss out on a lot of like, going to school with your buddies and going to prom, going to football games. And I mean, it's definitely a different way of life, but it also, I do see like a lot of really good values that come out of being a dirt bike racer. So
definitely.
But well, I guess we'll see what happens with you get your kid into it or not.
Yeah. We'll see.
At least you guys are in a good area right by all the training facilities.
Yeah. Right. So yeah, we'll see. I'm hoping that he at least wants to ride, have like a full-time riding buddy.
Yeah.
Eventually.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
Do you guys think you'll stay in South Alabama for a while or?
Yeah, probably so. I think we plan on staying there like long term.
Yeah.
So we've been a couple we've kind of said before, like if social media would have happened to us like before we had kids, we might would have tried to move somewhere just to try it out. But having kids, like living around our family, because that's where we're both from originally.
Okay.
That,
Have you both always been there? Did you ever?
Yeah.
Okay.
Neither one of us ever moves, and we were both born there. So,
really?
Yeah. We do travel a lot, so that's nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, we probably won't move.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so is the goal to just like continue doing social media, or do you kind of have like a plan with that for the future or what?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really know how to answer that.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll obviously do social media for a while, for the foreseeable future, for sure. Mm-hmm. But I mean, we have like long-term goals of like, things we want to do and to grow and just like anybody else, other ways to make passive income,
Yeah.
but yeah.
Nice. I know. Do you know who like the Guggen Squad is? They're YouTubers.
Yes.
They're like big fishing YouTubers.
Yes.
My buddy used to film for a lot of them, and they all started out as just being like social media YouTuber people.
Mm,
And they kind of started like building these brands
yeah.
and the way my buddy explained it to me was kind of as like exit plans of like, hey, we don't want to be YouTubers forever.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
So like, let's start like
Yeah.
building this brand and like,
Yep.
make this blow up so that we don't have to sit here and talk to a camera when we're 80 years old.
For sure. Yeah. That's our goal too.
Yeah.
We just got to figure out what that something is.
Yeah.
But yeah. Yep. There's actually a kid. Well, he's not a kid, but he's a few years younger than me, but he's a fisherman YouTube guy, and he's with the Guggen Squad.
Oh,
He's
really?
from
Who
where
is
we
it?
live. What's Bailey's brother's name? Anderson. His last name Anderson. Logan.
Okay.
Logan.
I don't know if I know him, but
Yeah.
well, cool. Well, sweet. Yeah, I think that's probably, we've been going for a while. But
Cool.
thanks for coming down.
Yeah, of course.
Glad we were able to make it happen in person.
I know. Yeah, it was fun.
It was a lot of fun. So we'll have a good time at the race tomorrow. And
Definitely.
thank y'all for listening. This is Hunter. Devin's over here on the side. She stuck it out listening to us blabber for almost an hour. So we'll see you guys in the next one. Thanks for listening. See y'all later.
See ya.